just like we have here.
Reactive resin, some of the best equipment that's available on the market today.
And what you need to know is the winning score of the championship game. Big caller 5-749-1035 when you hear Oh Pretty Woman between 7 and 9 tomorrow morning.
What number is that
And
again?
you're a winner. That's 749-1035 or toll free 1-800-749-1035.
Can you call from your car?
You can, or star 1035. That's right. We got you covered all the way around.
About every way to win possible.
Possibly.
And just remember that score of this, the championship match, and you could walk away with over $250 worth of equipment.
It's great, too. And I want to thank Chris with AMF for presenting me with my very own legacy bowling ball here today.
Now, yeah, but I got to tell you, you have to drill holes in there to throw that.
Well, I'll be dropping it on my foot mostly anyway, so it doesn't really matter with me.
Well, thanks again for joining us.
Always a pleasure, Dave.
WGRR, one of our new sponsors, and we thoroughly enjoy having them with us. A little disturbance by Nick Vogelgesang, and he's going to regain after both bowlers striking in the first frame. Nick on the left-hand lane gives a little bit more room, and that's not going to make him overly happy with the distraction, but a true champion, of course, will be able to come back. And Nick, if he plays this as he normally does, backs it up and chops off the 1 pin, filling out with 7 in the second frame, total of 24. David Welage, our king for last week, opening with a strike. Jennifer, David Welage looks as good as he's looked in a long time throwing the ball.
I was watching him in practice, Dave, and indeed this shot is a lot more conducive to David's style of bowling than it is Nick's. I think I can safely say that. Of course, with Nick Vogelgesang, you never know. David Welage, 738 to qualify, averaging 224. He is the king.
Not too shabby.
David's just oozing with confidence right now.
13 pins already, second frame, but again, bowlers of this caliber, basically nothing. Well, there goes the 13 pins, Jen.
Boy, big time.
Seymour Lanes. Seymour Lanes was qualifying, and these particular people tore the place up. You announced a few of the money winners before. The 4-6. Mr. Welage will surely just take one. Yes, he does.
Indeed, David. In fourth place this week, we had Lee Nina Jadley, Walt Krimmer in fifth, Ty Steele in sixth, and Nick Vogelgesang also in seventh place this week, cashing for $100.
Making money every week, and that ball will knock down 20 pins. Not just 10, 20 pins.
David, in addition to fantastic men bowling, we had Lynn Irvin picking up a $200 check this week for a 718 score at Cherry Grove, narrowly missing the qualifier. 718. Lynn Irvin, she is fantastic right now, on fire.
I don't believe I've seen her bowl. What?
Oh, she's fantastic. She throws a really firm ball, gets a lot of good forward roll on it. And in second place was Bert Brockner from Western Bowl. 638 for Bert for a $100.
The left-hand lane, Nick went wide in his first attempt. Now going through the nose, and he makes it. What a fantastic shot.
That was incredible, David.
Nick Vogelgesang, take a look at it here. The idea, obviously, a combination shot. Take the 6-pin, slide it across the lane into the 7-pin, and that's perfectly executed. Wow, just the way to do it. Absolutely perfect. David Welage, don't get lazy.
The fourth frame for David. And that's a good shot. Oh, going behind the head pin, David. I really expected that ball to make the last jump for the pocket, and it did.
And I believe David did also, and leaving the 2, 8, 10, one of the more difficult spares to make, especially for David's style. Now, of course, the only way that I've seen this made was to take the 9-pin, or I'm sorry, the 8-pin out of the channel.
That was interesting.
Well, that would have been a new way, yeah. Bouncing it off the pin as it's in the pit.
This is not a typical match for David Welage or Nick Vogelgesang.
David Welage, 1 pin to the advantage this particular point. Shaking his head, not knowing quite what to do. Neither player seems comfortable in the left-hand lane, Jen.
Got it in, David. Oh, and gets away with a Brooklyn.
Well, again, I'm sitting, look at the eyes looking over at Nick. What are we going to do on this left-hand lane? We just really don't know. The conditions change in bowling. Again, that's part of what makes the game so interesting. You've got to be able to move, adjust, and then go with the flow.
Again, Nick went high, or went rather light in behind the head pin. But his powerful head pin pusher got him all away.
The light slapper will do it each and every time for Nick, but again, those humans of us that bowl, you may want to try to fill up the 1-3 pocket just a wee bit more, like this.
Great double. Nick's shaking his head. I'll tell you, there's tons of camaraderie going on right now, David, between these two guys. But neither wants to give up, especially for that $600 check and the title of king.
That's right, Jennifer. Not only do they win the $600, but of course they earn the right to come back the following week and tack on another $300, I believe it is. So a win totals up to a nice payday, and you heard him say roll. Didn't quite roll. The 6-pin deflecting and going into the channel.
David, when you get to be this caliber of bowler, you just know as soon as that ball leaves your hand that it's going to need some type of help from the lane. David shot thousands of 10 pins in his day.
And makes thousands of 10 pins, right? Jeff Weiler, no danger of giving away the car at this particular showing, but you know, it is here, and I believe we'll get a description of it here in just a minute. Jeff Weiler, the place to go, just opened a couple weeks ago a super used car section. I've got to get out there because my car's on its last legs. My wife, we just got a new Altima from Jeff last year, and by George, I think I deserve a new car too.
David, what we have brought out today for us from Christopher Hunter, a Beretta Z26, 3.1 liter V6, and it's got the 5-mile-per-hour bumpers, and that's something I could use.
I believe it'll go a little faster than that, though, Jen, so you'd still have to be a little on the careful side. Shooting another 10-pin for David Welage on the left-hand lane. Again, scratching his head, uncomfortable with the shot right now. Going to have to make a ball change, a speed change, or a release change. Jennifer, which one would you do?
I would go for the release. I think that when you become this good of a bowler, you can pretty much put any type of release in your game at any given moment. Definitely get a little more roll on the ball to get that weak 10 out. Going across. He made it the first time. Can he do it again? Just barely missing it. Boy, this is some kind of match here. Nothing at all like we expected. Both guys just shaking their head.
Again, it's match play competition. However, both players capable of shooting any kind of numbers, but the winner will be the one with the highest score. Whether it's 170 or 270, the winner will be determined by the total number of pins knocked down.
And this is a very tight match at this point. The true player is going to come out here with the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Nick already has failed to strike in the 8th frame. He'll opt for a spare. David can really get it going.
And again, we asked you a little earlier, if you got those pens and papers ready, write this down. We've got the address that we would love to hear your comments. King of Bowling, care of WCPO, 500 Central Avenue, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45202. We want to hear from you, good, bad, or indifferent. We promise we'll read them all, and we'll do what we can to improve the show for you. 150,000 viewers in the greater Cincinnati area. Thank you for tuning in, and we still want to get better for you. David Welage on the right-hand lane, very confused, and we're not used to seeing this, Jennifer.
David was even very lined up in practice. I mean, he was striking repetitively. I'm shocked.
The lanes change. The players have to change with it. Look at this. Look at that. A very unique way of trying to make this particular spare, and
very good attempt, David. Bad count. Double whammy there.
That's right. Not the prescribed way to do it, but obviously the way David likes to try to make that spare. Typically, most people will want to cross over into the 1-2 area and throw the pin over. Nick Vogelgesang, leading by 11 pins with a mark up in the 8th frame, has the advantage and can win the game if he strikes out, and David is still lost on the left-hand lane.
Going high, very disappointed. You can just see it in his face. He can't believe it himself. We have some betting house boys out here today, Dan and Jerry, from Stone's Eastgate and Crossgate and Pinhouse. Mike McDonald came out this morning, Gary Rolfus,
president of the BPA. Going cross lane and making a spare in the critical 9th frame, plus 11. Nick brings into his 9th frame. Again, the support of our sponsors, the Miller people, have been absolutely fantastic with us, and he almost leaves the 6-7 again, Jennifer.
Incredible. I think maybe at this point, Nick really needs to get either move deep or get some more speed on the ball, but he's going to have to do that in his very last frame, the 10th, the most important frame.
His lead has been cut to 10 pins, but he can still win the match with David Welage sitting on the bench. He needs 3 strikes to close him out, but he's on a lane he's not very comfortable on. Let's watch.
That's the Nick Vogelgesang we know.
And did you pick up the adjustment?
Fantastic.
Hard and straight.
Yep.
Instead of going with the big arc ball, go with a little straighter shot. Let's look at it here. Instead of arcing it out and using the big roll, he moves in deeper, uses more speed, cuts down on the hook, therefore crushing the pocket. This is it. This has got to be a strike.
Oh, don't go away. David Welage has a chance to win the kingship. One more week.
It's not much of a chance, but it is still a chance. You are right, Jennifer. Sparing, giving Nick Vogelgesang one of the lowest scores he's ever had on television, 177. David Welage, if he strikes out in the 10th frame, will have 177.
That's a tie.
And he's on a lane that he is not comfortable with either, so we'll have to check. 3 strikes will tie the match up, and we will go into a 9th and 10th frame over. Let's see, that's wide, and that's not going to make it. Unfortunately, this match is over. The king has been dethroned this particular week, and it's not due to anything other than just not quite figuring out what to do with the lanes. In a championship match, Jennifer, not the kind of scores we're used to seeing at all. David, a great sport, laughing about it. Nick Vogelgesang, our king, for this week, 177 to 152.